Nerdcore could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore could rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a
Another
made-up word.
head hangs lowly. Cheryl is slowly taken. And the violence caused such silence. Ash can't be mistaken. But you see, it's not me. It's not my family. He has two heads. He has two heads. They are fighting with their fists and their hands and their hands and his gun. He has two heads. He has two heads. They are fighting. He has two heads. He has two heads. Deadites, 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 deadites. Hey, hey, he has two heads. He has two heads. Deadites, deadites, deadites. Hey.
I thought you were Evil Dead, Evil Dead. I was going to sing along. Yeah. I started to sing along. I was like, that's not what he's doing.
I did Dead. I should have thought of Evil Dead. You should have
me.
just pushed me out of the way and done that one.
Oh, it's over here.
But, welcome to Every Man's Guide to Nerddom, where we are 30 to 40-something-year-olds who talk about pretty much whatever we want. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And you guys, if you want to hang out with us outside of just listening to us, there's links to our Discord channel our Discord server in the show notes down below us. So join that. Discord's free. Don't forget your password, but Discord is free once you sign up for it. We've got lots of channels that we can discuss. Everybody in the community. Community is growing every week. More people are coming in and welcoming them into the fold. It's not a cult, I promise. And so you guys get in, hang out. Lots of things to talk about.
That.
We can't. I mean, our lawyers, if we had them, would tell us. Anyway, there's categories for movies and games and subcategories for games and anime and wrestling and beer and ball sports and all the fun things. If you want to talk about them, all things nerdy and all things that you just may nerd and geek out about, there's something for them in the Discord. So join that, join the conversation. And if you want to hang out with us live and in person and watch us play video games terribly every Friday and Saturday night, Chris and I stream on Twitch. You can find Chris under Guyver Unit 01, GUYVERUNT 01 on Twitch. I'm KSIG, K_SIG. We do community games on Friday night, Freaky Friday. It's a good time.
It's fun.
That's our big community night. We've been playing Rift Tracks lately. If you like Mystery Science Theater, watching us play Rift Tracks is not near as good.
Yep.
But it's as good as you're going to get unless you actually go watch Mystery Science Theater. That's your choice.
Or Rift Tracks.
Yeah, that would make also sense because that's the name of the game.
I mean, if you want to go by what's aptly named.
Same concept. We're not as good as those guys, as Mike and the rest of them, but we're not bad. We're not terrible.
We're funny. We think we're funny.
We laugh at ourselves a lot. So we do, we've been doing that. We've been playing Unfortunate Spaceman and a lot of other big community games. Sometimes up to 16 people available to play together. So that's 14, not counting us. So you guys get in there and play. Saturday night, we do Spooky Saturday. Spooky games and horror games, or
spooky
games that claim to be spooky and horror.
and end up not being.
But it's a thing. So yeah, we do that. So come hang out with us. Chris is likely going to be streaming off and on some through the week as summer gets here. I try to do the same through the week when I can. So usually in the evenings.
Kyle more so than Chris.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because Chris is a slacker. So
Chris is a slacker.
You guys come hang out with us. It's good times.
It is good times.
But the intro, the two heads, if you guys aren't watching the video side of it right now, the two heads may throw you off a little bit, but there's other clues into the song. Well, actually, if you're watching the video, then you obviously, if you even read the title of the episode, then you probably know what we're talking about. But Chris, what are we talking about?
Evil Dead, the world of
Yay.
Evil Dead, the
Yay.
Sam Raimi created universe of Evil Dead, starring the amazing and iconic. I was trying to think of the best way to put it for him, Bruce
The
Campbell, the groovy Bruce Campbell. Hail to the king!
Hail to the king, baby.
So, yeah, Evil Dead. We're going to talk about the Evil Dead universe and just everything that goes along with it. But first, Kyle, who is our listener of the week?
That would be Miss Jessie. Miss Jessie is our listener of the week. And what would you say? What qualifies Miss Jessie for our listener of the week?
How she came up to me during our we had our support employee luncheon this week, and she said, you know, really enjoying the podcast, and your podcast is perfect for mowing our lawn. She has like 22 acres, and she can get through about 2. And she says, in one go. And she says that our podcast is the perfect length for one of those.
Okay, I was wondering because you had in the notes that Miss Jessie says we are the perfect length for mowing the lawn.
Oh, maybe I should have reworded that.
Yeah, well, I was like, where? I missed something.
I thought I got rid of those pictures.
Got a little yard. Okay, so.
Oh, I got grubs.
Did you get that checked out?
Yeah, I probably should. But yeah, no. Thank you for listening, Miss Jessie, and we appreciate you.
Appreciate you very much.
So, all right. So we're talking about Evil Dead.
Clap. Yes.
So
what?
Okay.
Well, there's been some things recently that has brought Evil Dead back into the
mainstream,
the limelight, different things. One of the big things, there's 2 big things, 2 large, huge things. One quite a bit huger thing, and one not as huge thing, but a huge thing to us thing. First, not as huge thing would be Evil Dead, the game that recently came out, which I've been having a blast playing. Chris highly recommended it. He's been talking about it nonstop since he heard about it, and then he didn't get to play on release date. So that made me want to play it even more because he was injured. He was hurt, and Chris, you get excited about every game, but this game you were probably most excited about.
Yeah, no, I've been excited about this game for a long time because A, I love the Evil Dead franchise. B, I love games like this. My favorite games are the games you can play with your friends and the banter we have. That's like my favorite, just because it's a lot of fun. And then I got to watch these assholes play it and talk about how much fun it was when they knew I was watching to make sure I knew how much fun it was.
It was a really good time. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's asymmetric horror game, up to 5-player co-op, similar
Dead by Daylight.
I use it loosely, similar to Dead by Daylight, and I think it's getting that comparison because they're not. That's
the genre.
When you think of 4v1, when you think of 4 survivors versus 1 evil mean,
evil deader,
bad demon ghosty thing, you think of Dead by Daylight. But Evil Dead the game takes place in a way larger map over a probably slightly longer playtime, actually quite a bit longer playtime. I haven't done a lot of Dead by Daylight because it gets, to me, you get kind of stuck in a loop. But there's some advancement. There's classes that you can pick from as a survivor. There's different demons that you can pick up as the killer, or B as the killer, and there's strategy. There's really good strategy that goes into it. There's leveling. There's abilities and classes and things that you rank up as you go through. So it's got a lot of replayability and it's got some depth to it. There's some single player stuff that you can do. So it's got a lot of things going for it. And it's lore specific. Like, it does things really well. There's places you visit in the game. If you take your time, you look around, like, and you even not even noticing, like, if you just look at the map, you're like, oh, it's the Nobi cabin. There's places from the movies, mainly Evil Dead 1 and 2. And then there are locations from the TV show, which I only watched, I think, the first season. I want to go back and finish that up really bad now.
So good. It is so good.
So I think there's 2 maps in the game right now, and one reflects the movies, one reflects the TV show.
Mhm.
I'm kind of hoping that they do a medieval type.
There, it's already slated for later this year.
Okay, cool. So I mean, then you'd have 3.
Yep.
And so you would cover all the areas. But
It's just good.
it's a good game. So
It's just good.
That being out is relevant. The director of the original Evil Dead franchise, writer, director, producer, all the fun things that made all the cool things happen, Sam Raimi, is recently back in the nerd entertainment, the world entertainment news now with a new release.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And what's that new release?
Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, which I hear is fantastic.
It's really good. Really good. So those 2 things coming out, Sam directing that. We'll do an episode over Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness once Chris watches it. I don't want to ruin things for him. Usually I'm the one that's behind. I feel on top now. There's some things from that movie that would be relevant in this episode. Not too spoilery, but if you like Evil Dead, it's just there's things.
There's things.
But
and you all heard it here first. Kyle is the top.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I think we all knew that. So it's but yeah, if you guys haven't seen, I'll say that it's not my favorite Marvel movie. It's not like way up there, but for what it is, it's really cool. I mean, you have a Sam Raimi directed, Danny Elfman scored Marvel movie. Danny Elfman's great when it comes to scoring things. You know, and we talked about Danny Elfman a lot when we did our Tim Burton episode.
Yep. We like Danny Elfman. Danny Elfman of Oingo Boingo.
Oh, it's hard for me to say. Oingo Boingo.
Boingo.
Dead Man's Party. You know,
it's a dead man's and Weird Science.
And he's what, like 60 now?
All those guys are on the same. I think they all knew each other from college.
Elfman is freaking ripped.
Yeah. I
was looking up some stuff for when I was going into Multiverse of Madness. Pull out your Google and look up Danny Elfman. I think it's Coachella. If you use that search,
he's 68.
He's what?
He's 68.
Where's the image that I saw?
I'm looking it up here.
He's 68.
He's 68.
Holy balls. Got a new single out, Kick Me. Yeah, is he really tatted up there? I think he is. He is. Is not? Is? I don't know if that's just from the video.
I'm pretty sure he's tatted up. Living that rock and roll lifestyle.
Yeah. So Danny Elfman's a cool dude. I really got more into his music after Ready Player One, the book.
Yeah.
As he referenced Dead Man's Party in that.
Danny, if you're listening, we would love to have you on the show. Or Bruce Campbell or Sam.
Yeah. Any of you guys, if you're available. So that would be amazing. Just you guys make some time for that. But yeah, so there's some things in Multiverse of Madness that if you're a fan of Evil Dead, you'll appreciate. They're not like right in your face, just super subtle things. Well, actually, sometimes not so subtle, but worth relating the two. So that's why we decided, like, we're going to do an Evil Dead episode. We both love the movies. I think if you're any type of B movie, horror movie buff, nerd, whatever, like, these need to be in your wheelhouse to at least watch once. At least watch once to appreciate it, because I think there was so much influence that came from these movies to other things, and that some things that just aren't as obvious. Obviously, you know, this we'll get into it once we go through the series, but Evil Dead 2 really was kind of the first horror comedy mashup type movie that was leaning more towards the horror visuals, but then but was a very self-aware movie of what it was based on the first one.
Extremely self-aware.
And you know, nobody better than the great Bruce Campbell to play at. Like, nobody else could have done that, I don't think. Like he solidified his career
Ash.
as a mighty nerd icon at that point.
So was the Evil Dead was his first movie? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Evil Dead was the first for both of them because Sam and Bruce were friends in college, I believe it was what it was. Known each other for a while. Evil Dead was kind of their first foray into filmmaking.
Very low budget.
Very low budget. I'm sure Sam probably did something before. Well, he did.
They were
It's a
childhood
Murder.
friends.
Yeah, he did. It's a Murder, Within the Woods, Clockwork. So some shorts he did that Sam did as an executive producer in like the late 70s, and then Evil Dead comes out in 81. And there's tons of facts and trivia. Like they did it really low budget. I think the budget was like $500,000 for the movie. Ended up making making some money back with that. I'm sorry, $350,000 was the budget, and the movie is still making money today. When you think about the franchise as a whole, that was a good investment.
Yeah, it was a great investment. Like, who would have thought that such a low? I mean, this is kind of the way it is for a lot of these that we review, like this low budget, and I will say overacted.
Oh yeah.
Indie movie would have spawned this huge cult following, this cultural phenomenon. But it's just kind of cool that it did this, and it launched Bruce Campbell into the spotlight. And I even had the missus watch it with me. I haven't had Tasha watch it with me, and she doesn't do scary. She jumps at Lord of the Rings.
Aw.
Like she does not, but she could watch these because they're just not scary because they're so self-aware.
Yeah.
And we got through all three of them. So they're just fun movies that don't take themselves too seriously.
I think, my personal opinion, and I think this is probably shared amongst several people, they were trying to be serious with the first one.
Yeah, I agree.
They were 100% with the original Evil Dead. I think like this was like a passion project. This was like you got some money, a bunch of college and fresh out of college kids that got some movie making money. 100% they're trying to be serious with it, I think. And I think the lower budget, I thought the practical effects were really good.
Yeah, for 1981.
Yes. And I'm a fan of practical over special anytime, or over CGI. Practical effects, even when they're cheesy, I like them.
Yep.
And there was some cool things that they did in this. The makeup and things are very 80s looking, but
I think that's I think that period of time, late 70s, early 80s, that's when. Well, I guess more mid 70s, like with Alien and stuff too.
Yeah.
When the special effects masters and the guys who did the costuming and the makeup and stuff, I think that's when it really started to hit its stride.
Yeah.
Like you were saying, like I think you had to compete with everyone else doing something similar like that. You had to try and make it bigger and better.
And there was a style, I think, with the practical effects for the horror, and like when you think of like Poltergeist and just like any of those kind of campy horror movies that came out during that time, which were all really good in my eyes.
We love them. Well, Kyle and I love campy shit, though.
I would love to get a younger person's opinion on those early 80s, late 70s campy horror movies now. Like maybe
who we could ask who's younger? Shaunicus.
Oh yeah, he's going to be our guinea pig.
Yeah, he would. So Shaunicus. I don't know if Shaunicus listens to the podcast.
Doesn't matter.
We'll ask him.
We'll get him on. I would like to get his opinion on that, especially these movies.
Yeah, we would ask Chove, but he's
old
meat sponge.
Yeah.
So, and he's old, and let's face it, not as smart as us.
I would love to get some fresh opinions on these movies because I mean, we know like nostalgia blurs, blurs some things. You know, if there's movies that you just absolutely love, sometimes you can't get past that nostalgia to really look at them more critically and objectively as you've gotten older and you've learned to like things. Sometimes it's better to leave things in the past and just remember them remember liking them and leave it at remember liking them.
Like the movie House.
Oh God, with Richard Knoll or is it Knoll?
Maul.
The dude from Night Court.
Yep.
And then the mom and the weird Vietnam flashback and
yep, and then his uncle in the graveyard, and then they made House 2, which was even worse. Or Troll.
I don't think I saw Troll. I watched House. I distinctly remember watching House a few times when I was young.
Waxwork, all those around the same time period.
When she turned to that purpley, like her neck rolled out, and she had she still had rings on her fingers when
Yep. I guarantee you have seen Troll, you just don't remember it.
Maybe. I don't know.
Then they made Troll 2, which had nothing to do with the Troll franchise, which was terrible, and Riff Tracks actually riffed live.
I may have seen it. Okay, so that would have depended on a very specific time frame. And if it was on, it wasn't Dish Network at the time. What was it? It was like Heartland or something like that.
Yes.
With the giant if my grandparents had the channel, and if I happened to be there that weekend and nobody was watching me watch the TV. There's a lot of things that had to line up for me to see certain movies back in the day. And I remember seeing House at my grandparents' house when they were out doing something in the yard. I'm like, ooh, what's this? I'm like, oh, yeah. Scared
the shit out of you as a kid. Now you watch it, go, God, this is terrible.
It didn't really scare me that much. And like, none of the okay, the original Evil Dead 2 had a couple of good jump scares. I'll give it that. Yeah. But I don't think even House really scared me as a kid. I think I saw it for what it was then. And I didn't even watch like Evil Dead stuff. I didn't start watching those until like I was in college. I think that's when my foray into some of these movies and stuff became more prevalent. Like we didn't have a lot of great movie. We had a couple of rental places. We didn't have a Blockbuster where I lived at. Where my dad lived, there was a Blockbuster. We could occasionally visit, but we had like a little Showtime Video that was
Showtime Video,
like maybe an 800 square foot store, and you would
it wasn't even the size of like a studio apartment.
They were little, but you could see these movies. You could see Evil, like, and you're at the time you're picking out. If you're a kid, more than likely you're picking out a movie either based on a commercial that you saw or just the cover. And these
like the Serpent and the Rainbow.
Yeah, it's like these 80s horror movies had some pretty like metal covers. They were like of the time, and there is no way, like the movie person, they're not going to rent that to some little 6-year-old kid. And so trying to convince your parents, like, hey, I want to get this movie. Like you look at the covers of Evil Dead 2, or even Army of Darkness, which wasn't even scary at all. You look at the cover art for these movies, and they were pretty cool. Like they were, like when I say they were metal, they were fucking metal. Like the VHS covers, and that's something I'm kind of looking at right now too. If you guys just look up the VHS covers of some of these movies, like Army of Darkness, we'll jump ahead a little bit here, and then we'll kind of start getting the timeline. The Army of Darkness movie cover itself, the VHS cover, it looks like it's cover of like if you were at the grocery store and you look over and you see these books, and there's like, looks like you would see like this line of books, like, okay, that's Fabio. Okay, that's Bruce Campbell on the cover. Like it's got that really like Harlequin, slutty romance novel look to it, which is amazing. I think, in knowing what I know now, like when I was a kid, if I saw that, I was like, oh, I can't watch this. I don't wanna...
But then you're like, oh, I can.
But now when you look back at it and you think of how we keep bringing up them being self-aware of what the movies were, that cover of Army of Darkness with Ash standing there with the chainsaw hand, his shirt ripped off, or half ripped, like abs, and he's freaking cut. Bruce wasn't that cut, for one. He probably had a little bit of a beer belly during. No, he was still slimmer then.
He was slim. He was during Evil Dead, and just look at his face, how young he was.
Yeah, but he wasn't as ripped as he is on the movie cover.
No,
movie cover Ash is freaking ripped, and it's just very of the times. And you know, when that came out, they were, and I think Bruce is very self-aware too.
Oh, 100%. He knows what made him famous and what he's famous for, and he's not like an asshole about it.
Yeah, he's not too good about it. He, like, him being self-aware of he's being famous for being super cheesy and overacting is great, because that would be like a reality breaker for some people. Like, oh, they only like me because I overact and because I'm really cheesy. That would be an ego buster. He embraces it. He loves it. Like, he knows it. And so I think whenever that cover for Army of Darkness came out, I think they were just all about it. Like, yeah, this is, you know, like when we do our pictures for the thumbnails and some of our intro video stuff and things like that, we're like, oh God, this is amazing. I think he had that same reaction to some of the things there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just think, like you said, I like how he's aware of it. And he's just, I've heard when you meet him, he's just an amazing guy too.
Oh, absolutely. There's very few celebrities like, man, I really want to meet them.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just not I have to go meet these people. I have to, you know, they tell you hear so often, like, you don't want to meet your heroes. Well, yeah. And you don't want to meet your heroes sometimes because that can be just reality shattering. But Bruce is one of the exceptions. I would love to meet Bruce. Absolutely love to meet Bruce.
Yeah, I would too. Okay, so where are we?
I have no idea, dude. We just started ranting and going.
So I think we're on. No, we just went through. Well, kind of went through Evil Dead
and Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, and we didn't.
Okay, let's just start. Okay,
let's start at the beginning. Evil Dead, 1981.
1981. You can definitely tell it's a 1981. That's another good idea for an episode we need to do. It's like campy 80s, 70s, 80s horror movies.
Yeah, I'm down.
That would be fun. And like their video covers, the VHS covers.
We can rank them.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be awesome. Okay. So, 1981, Evil Dead was released. 300 on a budget of $350,000, which is not a lot by today's standards. 81, that was still quite a bit of money.
That's still a pretty good little chunk of money.
But you can also tell that he found a cabin. You know, they probably rented it out for like $20 a night. But I fucking love this movie. Like, it's not scary. It's the effects are kind of cheesy, but it's just fun.
Well, a fun fact about that cabin though is, so that was the set.
Your flash fact?
My flash fact. It was also, so they had 13 crew members for the first movie. The cabin was also the crew's lodging. The cabin in the movie was also where they stayed.
When they were wrecking it, they were
yeah, and
all 13 of them in that 2-room cabin.
Yep. And so
that was shot. Had to pay for repairs?
Probably not. The place is kind of trashed anyways. That was shot in Tennessee. I don't remember if the original cabin is still standing. I don't think it is. But that would be like a cool destination just to go see the cabin.
Oh, we should. Isn't Shawnikus in Tennessee, or is that Kentucky?
I think he's in Kentucky.
Well, that's close enough. Yeah. Because if it was, we could all have like a haunted weekend in that cabin.
So I'm kind of going through like IMDb and some other things, pulling up some cool facts, which, you know, if you guys want to do this, you go out and look it up on your own, but you want to hear us read things. So
while you listen to us.
Yeah. So the in the first movie, you know, and we're still talking about Evil Dead 1, when they find the tape describing what Dr. Noby found and like the evils that lie within that area and the warnings and all that. Originally, that scene, they were supposed to be all sitting around the tape player, smoking weed, getting high. Like, that's what the original scene called for. And they did originally. All smoke around the thing and get really high. And then they had to reshoot that entire scene because they were way too high.
Okay, that's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
They got too high to even act.
Yep. And I remember watching some making of these movies, like the way they did some of the special effects, like the blood. I think it was like Caro syrup and food coloring to give it that really kind of gummy, squishy, extra viscosity in the blood.
Right.
They had a very small crew. A lot of the, when you see some of the main characters die and then they come back, a lot of their alternate versions, their undead versions of themselves, are actually other characters. I think Sam's brother was in the movie.
Both his brothers were.
Both of his brothers, and then, here's the thing about the cabin. I'm going to read this while I found it. So it was filmed in a real life abandoned cabin. Property's owner granted the production crew to lease the cabin under the condition that any modifications made for filming were to be undone. The crew kept their promise. The only thing that remained in the cabin was the fireplace that was specifically built for the film. Oh, so the guy got a fireplace out of the deal. Not a bad thing.
You believe that?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, flash fact. I don't know both his brothers, but I know his brother Ted is in everything that he does. So Sam did Hercules, The Legendary Journeys.
Yep.
And I don't know if he did all of them or just, some of them, but his brother Ted was he was like the warrior guy in there. He's very distinctive looking. Bruce Campbell was also in there as the like Robin Hood like character.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then Rob Tappert, that was involved in the first one, went on to do Xena.
Which they're all closely related.
And so you're talking about, his brothers being in every movie. Who else has been in everything that Sam's done?
Bruce Campbell.
His 1973 Oldsmobile Delta 88, the old yellow car.
Wait, that's Sam's?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, it was bought by his dad for the family when he was like 14.
Right.
It's been Ash's car in every Evil Dead movie. It was in the Spider movies that Sam directed. It was Uncle Ben's car, and Uncle Ben and Aunt May's car.
Really?
Yep. There was a movie he did called The Gift in 2000. It was in that. It was in Drag Me to Hell, and it's been cameos in nearly all of his other movies.
With as much as they beat the shit out of that car, I'm impressed it's still standing.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the original car or if it's just that. I need to find that out. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be cool to find out.
Because that car's been through some shit.
Yeah. Like literally.
Literally. Yep.
So, okay, now what are we on now? Evil Dead 2?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and go on to Evil Dead 2. Like,
is there anything you want to go more on?
Not really, because we're gonna hit it again in 2. Yeah. I know. I mean, 1 and it's been a little bit since I've went back and rewatched those. I kind of need to, and sometimes things from 1 and 2 in my getting old man brain get blurred together, like this,
like that. That's hot. Can you keep doing that?
Kind of like this. And so when they get together, anyway,
here's the church. Here's the steeple.
I just think that one episode of Beavis and Butthead when they're like, eh.
Yes. Or you remember in elementary making you do this and have someone do this and you go, what is this? It's a butthole.
Uh-huh. Yep. You guys that are just audio people, you have no idea what just happened.
You have no idea.
No idea. So Evil Dead 2, also known as Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. This is one of the most confusing sequels.
Yep. Because it's not really a sequel.
It's not really a sequel, but it is, but it isn't, but it isn't. But it is, but it isn't.
What was the term you used?
Okay, so I was going through some stuff earlier. I was looking at some things from Screen Rant. And according to Bruce Campbell, there never was supposed to be an Evil Dead 2. Okay. Apparently Sam was having trouble getting rights to his own movie. And so Evil Dead 2 is what they called a requel, REQUEL, which means they essentially remade the Evil Dead with new people. They didn't have all the same cast come back, which I like Campbell's statement here. He said, people thought Ash would be dumb to return to the same cabin with different people, but this wasn't the case. And so it's like it references the first movie a little bit. In
the fact that the cabin's there and his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But it also introduces new characters.
Yeah, so it's basically the first movie again. It was shot as a recap of different actors, except Bruce, who reprises his role as Ash. And so it's the next part of the timeline. All the events are still the same. Ash is still born in 58. They still go to the Nobi cabin. They still find the Necronomicon Ex Mortis,
which is the coolest name ever.
Yes, Necronomicon. Necronomicon. And let me think here. There it is.
So what's different in this?
I'm looking at this this timeline thing, which is actually starting with Army of Darkness because the whole time travel thing.
Right.
And it's throwing me back off because you know how well we do with time travel.
We hate time travel.
Because okay, well, we'll get into that. Because in Evil Dead 2, Ash is also older. Ash should also be there somewhere, but hibernating or sleeping. How did he come back to the future? Or did they make him sleep?
There's a whole explanation about it, but I just can't remember.
I should have probably researched that before this, but whatever. We're winging it.
So one thing that is a constant in there, you have Ash, and then you have his girlfriend Linda.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say trees.
But and the asshole evil trees. You do.
Yes.
Actually, that is a constant, isn't it?
There is. The trees. It's saying that Raimi actually regrets that scene with the tree. And when you say that scene with the tree, if you've seen the movies, you know exactly what we're talking about with that scene with the tree. A very handsy tree.
I'm not gonna.
Yep. The tree.
Handsy tree. Yep.
Handsy tree.
Like
he said,
if you know, you know.
That. Yeah. He said he regrets doing that scene. And
at the time, I think that was more for like shock value.
I think it was. I don't think even
like
as
James Gunn, young James Gunn,
even as shocking as some of the things that we see in movies now. And
this
is some the things that we're saying. Like, okay, I'm trying to think of how I want to phrase this.
Just phrase it. They've heard words from us.
Well, like we're saying, like, oh, we couldn't, like, we see some pretty bad stuff now. And we do some pretty, see some pretty bad things, but we couldn't do that. What was done then, now.
No,
that's a phrase that's going to be repeated until the end of time, just because of the way, during the 80s, there's things that, oh, well, we couldn't do that now.
You got cancel culture now. You've got, and just shit that's not acceptable.
Stuff that's just not acceptable. We're growing and learning as a society, and there's a lot of the things that we'll go off a small tangent here that people say, oh, the youth of today are lazy and blah blah. That those almost exact words that people use to complain about younger generations have been said over and over again for centuries and centuries. Old people complaining about young people is nothing new.
Nope, not at all.
Nothing special about the younger generation now that you need to complain about. That the generation older than you complained about. You're just getting old and grouchy.
Yeah,
I'm old and grouchy. So anyway, that's my mini rant.
Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Rarely. So
rarely. So Linda is different in this one than she was in the first one. Two different actors.
Yep.
In 2, Professor Nolby is still there.
Have they used the original recording?
It sounded like it.
I think they used the original recording, but if I remember it, the Necronomicon looked a little different.
Yeah, it did look a little different. Really, the only constant was Ash.
Yeah.
But then you had Linda was different. And then in 2, they introduced, was it Anne Nolby? Who was the quote unquote daughter of Henrietta and Professor Nolby. Yeah, it was Annie. It was Annie. played by Sarah Berry, which she was awesome. And Henrietta was even different, I believe.
Is this where we get Large Henrietta?
You know who Large Henrietta was?
It was one of Raimi's brothers, wasn't it?
It was Ted. Yeah,
Yeah, it was Ted.
it was Ted. It was played possessed Henrietta. Yeah, it was a different Henrietta from the first movie.
Is it the Henrietta that we see in the game? That's what I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, it's
I think it
the
is.
possessed one. Yeah, yep. That's Ted's character.
So what you start seeing happen in Evil Dead 2, we've said it so many times for this about them being really self-aware.
Mm-hmm.
Campbell overacts so much in this movie, but not in a bad way.
Nope.
There's bad overacting, which is the most common form of overacting that you see, and then there's it's, to me, it's almost an art. Like, you can tell people that overact and they're being super cheesy just for the sake of overacting, being super cheesy, and it comes off terrible.
But no, this is Bruce Campbell.
He is so authentic with his overacting that you love it. Like, you can't help but love it. And in Evil Dead 2, there's a lot of things that happen. You know, his hand gets infected. He loses his hand after he chops his hand. He chops his own hand off.
Mm-hmm.
Or saws it off. He gets the chainsaw. Or did he chop it or saw it?
He sawed it. Because if I remember right, because as he killed Linda, because he chainsawed her head, and then he thought he was done with it, and he was sitting in the chair, and then her head just dropped out of nowhere, bit him on the hand, and infected his hand.
That's what it was. He got bit in a little webbing. No,
Yep.
And so
then his hand became evil.
His hand becomes evil. Before he cuts it off, he has this whole long spiel of fighting his own hand that is attached to his body.
Which is amazing.
Before he cuts his hand off. And I don't think that...
It's a classic scene.
It's a classic scene.
That's something that everyone remembers from this movie.
And I don't think it's one that if you tried to shoot it and take it serious, that it'll come off very well.
No, because the look on his face when he's doing it, when he's going.
Yeah, when he's...
Yep.
He's fighting, you know...
He's fighting his hand.
I'm kicking my own ass.
It's delicious. It's just it really is just a great scene if you take it for what it is.
Yeah. And him lopping his own hand off is an iconic moment for setting up the character of Ash for the remainder of the franchise.
Yep.
Because now he's got one hand, and if you know, you can tell that it was like
he doesn't die of blood loss.
He doesn't die of blood loss, and they kind of taped over his nub, or he wrapped his nub or whatever.
And it's like this long.
You can still tell like his arm with his nub is still just as long as his arm with his hand. Like his nub, like they didn't hide it really well.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden his right hand became like 10 feet long.
Yeah. Like, and you know, he goes, he finds the chainsaw, he attaches the chainsaw, he finds his boomstick. There's so many iconic lines that come from this movie that carry throughout pop culture in general.
This is the movie where he used the chainsaw to saw the boomstick in half.
And so,
which he didn't do in the first one.
He did not do in the first one. So he gets the double barrel 12 gauge shotgun that
with unlimited ammo. Sometimes it shot 3 shots.
And you know, you can find those on special at S-Mart. I think it's Isle
Ash.
But that's his boomstick, which also changes in length in Army of Darkness a couple of times.
Oh, it does, doesn't it? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, because I started rewatching Army of Darkness the other night, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But the term boomstick for a short barrel or a sawed-off double barrel shotgun, you see that come up. I think it was it Doom or Quake? We'll look here real quick.
It's Duke Nukem.
Was it Duke Nukem?
Mm-hmm. So we'll go off on Duke Nukem here once we get to Army of Darkness.
Okay.
Let me put that in because that plays a huge part.
Let's see here.
It might be in Doom or Quake, but I'm almost positive it's Duke Nukem.
I'm looking really fast. Furious typing.
Okay, so while Kyle's looking that up, there's just a lot of iconic scenes and one-liners from this one. Because it really is just campy as hell. It doesn't make sense. He is bloody as fuck, but he doesn't die. And that's kind of Ash's superpower. He does not die. Oh, and you get Deadite Ash in this one too. Maybe we should explain what a Deadite is.
Go ahead.
So a Deadite is when the demons... Okay, so what I love about this series is they have this camera angle and it's got this... How would you describe it with how the demons sound like? You hear the swooshing and like kind of a buzzing almost.
The unseeable force?
Yeah.
Because that's something that you never see.
No, it's unseeable.
It's unseeable. And that was a design choice from Raimi is so many movies rely on you seeing the evil thing to be scared. And he wanted the thought of it to be what is scary. And it still works. And he's very known for this. You know, I don't know if they have it on some type of gimbal or what it is, but imagine if you had a low flying drone flown by a drunken toddler through the woods. And that kind of,
that's what it is.
That's what it looks like when it's following the unseeable force, the energy that is produced. I think actually comes from the Necronomicon, but that is possessing these people and creating the Deadites.
Yeah,
the demons. You don't see it, you're aware of it, and you know, I don't remember if the characters actually see it or not because you see them react to it.
No, they do. But
you don't know what it looks like. It's very similar to is it Bird Box, where you never see the actual evil things that are, you know, that's why they blindfold themselves, because they see this demonic evil force that's been taking over the world, they go commit suicide.
Oh, what is that?
It's Bird Box.
Is it Bird Box?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
A very similar concept.
They see it because, you know, they're always tripping and then they're going, no.
Yeah, but we never see it.
No, we never see it.
The viewer never sees it. That's what I'm saying.
You hear it. And what is it? Is it a growl?
It's kind of a growl. I mean, you hear the presence in Evil Dead too.
Yeah. And you can hear it like making crunches on the leaves too.
But we as a viewer never see it.
Never see it. And the Deadites, when they become Deadites, they're basically, they're not like zombies because they're demonically taken over. Their eyes become like cataracts, basically, like all glossed over and just dead. And like their faces become like they've been dead for a long time. Like no, all their facial features become exaggerated. Like your eye sockets and like the bone around it become bigger. Bones, you see it. Best plastic surgery you can get.
And then really.
And you can't die. Really bad wigs. And it's hard for you to die. Like they get shot through the head, heads come off, bodies come off, and they're still alive.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to kill a Deadite.
They're hard to kill.
Except if you're in Army of Darkness.
A lot of hit points. Those Deadites.
A lot of HP.
A lot of HP.
A lot of HP. But
very
yep,
tanky.
That's what a Deadite is. Okay. So Army of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. Now, I think you're more familiar with this one than I am, because I have a feeling that you've watched this at least 17 times.
Maybe 18.
Okay.
I love Army of Darkness. So my first question, and I've had this discussion with people before, how the fuck does this even fit in with the Evil Dead? Because it does, but it doesn't, because it's like there's Deadites. There's the Necronomicon. And it follows up from 2 when he gets transported to the past. I mean, it's all a big circle how he wrote it, basically. But it kind of almost doesn't make any sense in the universe. Because I would consider this more of a comedy.
You kind of call it a comedic dark fantasy adventure film.
Yep, that's what I mean. That's the best way to describe it. I would totally go with that. Ash gets transported to the past. Knights catch him, and this is where all your classic Ash catchphrases come from.
So many of them.
This leads into Duke Nukem. So some of the phrases are "Hail to the King, baby." Come here, give Daddy some sugar. This is my boomstick. What's the other ones? There's a bunch from that movie.
There's so many.
But they made this video game back in the 90s.
92.
Is that when Duke Nukem came out?
I don't know when Duke Nukem 3D came out. It was definitely after 92.
Okay, so
because
early
91,
to mid-90s.
I think, was Doom. 90, 91, 92, or 92, 93. This Army of Darkness came out close to the same time as Doom. Doom came out before Duke Nukem.
92. So they modeled Duke Nukem a lot after Ash. Because and then Duke Nukem also took from other famous horror movies like They Live, the Rowdy Piper.
Oh, it was just a pop culture melting pot.
It really was like
over the top action and horror movies.
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of bubble gum. That's from They Live. But a lot of Duke Nukem was based off of Ash's character in Army of Darkness, the Hail to the King. He fights a Deadite in there. This film has it's set in the past. I think it came out in 1992, originally conceived as Evil Dead 3, The Medieval Dead. And it's supposed to be a sequel to the first two movies. I mean, loosely.
Apparently, and kind of going through some trivia and stuff here, that all three Evil Dead films can be seamlessly cut together into one long production with a little bit of the introductory footage in the sequels taken out.
I could see that. It's this one. It's more of you put more slapstick and dark comedy than horror gore. Gory. It really is, because in it, Ash gets taken over by a second evil head. Well, okay, no, rewind.
Many things.
This is I think the movie that establishes Ash for who Ash is, like cements it, because you start seeing it in 2, but in 3 is like the main Ash character that we see in the TV show. This one, like the guy said, okay, when you take the Necronomicon, you have to say these words exactly. And Ash like, yeah, I got it. And when he's supposed to say the words in it, he starts going, Klaatu, Recta, and he kind of looks around. He's like, takes it. It ends up spawning these little mini Ashes, which you can see on the cover. And it's hilarious because they're all mini Ashes. It's actually him. Like they're running around. They're like the brownies in Willow.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
I mean, almost exactly, because they're running and stabbing him with like a butter knife and shit.
Well, they capture him at one point, don't they? Yeah,
they capture him, and that's how they open his mouth, and one of them jumps down his throat. That's how
that's where
head comes out, the evil Ash, and he ends up, it splits off, and he kills the evil Ash, buries him, puts the cross on there. But then evil Ash comes back as the main evil, as the necromancer, who raises all the dead. And
raises the Army of Darkness.
Yeah. And it's originally called Ash versus the Army of Darkness, isn't it? But we just know it as Army of Darkness.
Okay, so the name of the movie had several iterations before it finally came out. Sam Raimi originally wanted to call the movie The Medieval Dead. for the little throwback. Universal Pictures refused. The title Army of Darkness was created by Irvin Shapiro, who was an uncredited producer in the first Evil Dead and executive producer of Evil Dead 2. He died 2 years before the film was made. So, Raimi naturally wanted to give it the title Evil Dead 3 Army of Darkness. But the studio wanted the film to stand on its own. It's kind of separate from the rest of the series. They wanted this to be able to be a standalone movie, which it can be. You can watch it. So they just went with Army of Darkness. Now, for the UK release, it was called Army of Darkness, The Medieval Dead. In Japan, it was called Captain Supermarket. So,
was it really?
Yeah.
Captain Supermarket.
Mm-hmm.
Ash has emotional damage.
God, somebody needs to make an Evil Dead anime. Like,
I would watch the shit out of that.
I would watch it. Yeah. Could you imagine? Because
you could do so much with that.
I want it to be done in English. I want the voice acting to be done in English, but then I want it to be redubbed also in English, but done as if it was dubbed, if it was dubbed over Japanese. So then you have that. You see what I'm saying? You have that.
Yeah. No.
Like, oh,
and actually, Bruce Campbell, the way he delivers lines would be perfect at that.
Mm-hmm. Have him dub over himself.
Because anime is like over the top shit a lot of the times, depending on what it is.
And a lot of times the voice acting is super over the top, and because you lose stuff in translation and you have to make it. Yeah.
But I want to be clear about something with you all too. I know we keep saying Bruce Campbell overacts, blah 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 blah. Like,
don't mean that in a bad way.
No, Kyle and I have nothing but respect. We love Bruce Campbell.
If you watch any of his other movies, like, that's his acting style,
which is amazing. And we love Bruce Campbell.
He does it effortlessly. Anything that you see him in, because that's not his only acting style. Like, you've seen him do little bit roles here and there where he's not, over the top and over exaggerated with the things that he does, and he's a good actor.
Mm-hmm. He's a great actor. Ace of, jack of all trades.
Here's what I think of when I think of his acting style, and going to rehash this again while we're on it. Is you have people when you watch older B and really campy horror movies and things, you can tell people that they're not the best actors and they're overcompensating, they're overacting for it. And then you have what I think Bruce does is he can act. He's acting like he's overacting. And that's what sells it so good. It's not, he's not overacting. That's his, God, that's so hard to explain. In my head, it makes so much sense.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, he is acting like he is overacting, and it sells it so well. Everything that he does, where he does that style with Evil Dead, Bubba Hotep. Burn
Notice.
I never watched Burn Notice. So
he was great in that.
I can't reference his acting style on that as if it was good acting or if it was his over the top acting. Or if it was
He's done a lot of voiceover work too.
Yeah, very
Megas
prolific.
XLR. He was Lobster Johnson in Hellboy, The Science of Evil, the video game. He was in Cars 2. Is Rod Redline Torque? I didn't know that.
He's had little cameos in almost everything that Sam Raimi has done. He's been in, was he in all the Spider-Mans?
Yeah, he was all in those.
All the ones that Raimi directed.
Raimi did, yeah. Jack of all trades, was an old TV show. It's kind of the same universe as I know I said that before, as Hercules and Xena, except it's set like he's like a pirate almost.
Okay.
A con man pirate, and it is just so much fun. He was in that, and he basically played an old-timey Ash character.
Okay.
But yeah, that's, again, we love him. He was a voice in Call of Duty. Exo Zombies, Modern Warfare. Captain Lennox. Huh.
There's something cool about Army of Darkness. It's infamous for having 4 different versions upon release. There was the U.S. theatrical, the European director's cut, and the US TV. Each included deleted extended scenes as well as scenes that were re-edited in a different order depending on what version the viewer watched.
Really?
The one that had the most restored scenes was the 90-minute US TV version. All of these versions have been compiled in a box set that was released in both the US and Germany. It's weird.
He's huge in Germany. Like David Hasselhoff.
Yes. That's a good a Bruce Campbell Hasselhoff movie where they're we just had a genius idea, I think. Where they're like aging.
I'd watch it.
We got to think of something where they were like a young, awesome cop duo at one time, and now they're older and they're brought back in to like fight crime. And then there's like maybe some deadites appear. I don't know. But if you had him not playing, Bruce not playing Ash and Hasselhoff just being Hasselhoff.
Right.
That would be an amazing movie. I would watch the shit out of that.
I would too.
Send us our money in the mail.
Hey, give us our money. But yeah, so that's basically Army of Darkness. It's just a fun movie. It's a standalone almost, but it fits into the whole universe.
There's so many goofs and errors and things and stuff that just really doesn't make sense. Like they're supposed to be in Europe, right?
Right.
Because you have King Arthur and you have these medieval things, but they're really like in a gravel pit in San Bernardino running around because like, oh yeah, this is Europe. And like, that's a gravel pit. It's God, it's just one of those movies that you have to tell people like, don't take it too serious. Just enjoy it for what it is. Which seems like that's a lot of movies that we watch.
Kyle and I like the campy horror shit.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why we do a lot of this kind of stuff.
One we watched to replace Home Sweet Home.
Yep.
Like you just have to accept it for what it is.
Don't go in with expectations.
Be able to laugh at it. The movies that are so bad they're good, which would probably, I don't know if any of these really fit into that because I think it's not that they're so bad that they're good. It's they're so aware of how bad that they could have been. And then they play off of that. They don't take it serious. And people love it because it's authentic. Being authentic, I think, is the big thing for these movies. Is when we talk about Campbell's over-the-top acting and the movie being self-aware and stuff, they're authentic. They know what they are. They know what these movies are. And they're unashamedly going forward with it and not trying to be too serious about it. Not trying to make you believe like, yeah, this is the greatest horror and special effects movie ever with amazing deep storylines and all that. No, it's not. And it's not meant to be. And they absolutely 100% know it. And that makes it authentic. And that's why we love it.
100%.
Mic drop. Oh God.
Don't drop your mic. The thing's expensive.
Yeah. It's safe. It's got a strap. It's not going anywhere.
Okay, good.
So where did we get to from this? Oh, there was a musical.
Yeah, the music. Go over the musical because you've been playing the music from it.
All I know is the music from the musical. I didn't even know it was a thing. Okay,
the music's actually pretty good.
The music's catchy as hell. We started the episode. We were talking about the Evil Dead game that we were playing, and a struggle that I come into quite a bit. Some people don't give a shit. I kind of do. Is music that I'm playing before my stream starts or while the stream's going or different things. Twitch has a way of hitting you with a DMCA. They can mute your VOD, your recording of it. You can get strikes. You could eventually get kicked off of Twitch if you play too much copyrighted music. And I kind of try to watch what I do and what I don't do, and I'll kind of test it out a little bit. And so I'm looking for, before we play Evil Dead for the first time, I was looking for music. Like I was looking for the original score from the original movies, something that I could play while my intro screen was rolling while I was setting things up. And I'm on Spotify. I'm going through things, and I come across Evil Dead the musical. Didn't even know that was a thing. And so, like, okay, I kind of pre-screen a couple of songs. Like, these sound really good. I'm going to roll the dice and just go ahead and play this. And they're hilarious. The songs are hilarious. If you love the movies, if you never even watched the musical, if you love the movies, the songs are great. you want to talk about being self-aware and making fun of yourself? Those songs are perfect for that.
Mm-hmm.
And no DMCA strikes so far, so I'm gonna keep playing them. But the musical debuted in a small bar in Toronto in 2003. So this, after Army of Darkness, predates the TV show that launched on Stars in 2013. It actually made it to New York City off Broadway in 2006. Since then, it's been performed in over 200 cities.
Isn't that nuts?
I think it started. It seems like it started as like a fan tribute kind of thing, especially if it started in a really small bar. Like, hey, this would be cool to do. Since then, they've gained full support from the original crew, the original cast, the writers, the producers, like everybody involved with the original Evil Dead, fully behind this one. Like Campbell's been to multiple cities just to watch it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a mashup of all of, well, the first two a little bit. Like I said, I haven't personally seen it. I haven't found a way to watch it yet. I think right now the only way to watch is if you can catch a live showing of it somewhere in your city, or
if they're even doing it anymore.
If they're even doing it anymore. But it combines the elements of 1 and 2. It's got, supposedly has the slapstick comedy of Army of Darkness, because Army of Darkness is very, very slapstick.
Mm-hmm.
And also has a splatter zone in the first 3 rows. So they use real practical effects, and there's blood and shit and stuff that goes flying. Like, I imagine it as like if you've ever been to a Guar concert, or if you're aware of a Guar concert. I don't know, Chris, that may be out of your realm, but
I know who Guar is.
Yeah, same
thing. I've
thing.
been to one.
There's a splatter zone. It's a lot larger than the first 3 rows because they got some pressure behind some of the effects that they use, and you're going to get covered in some type of simulated fluids from a very long distance. But the musical for Evil Dead, they do have the first 3 rows are considered the splatter zone, and the New York Times has called it the next Rocky Horror Picture Show,
which is awesome.
So just them saying that, I'm going to assume it's a very audience interactive experience, and they're going to embrace that. So
I would love to see it. I really would.
I would too. I don't know what I'm going to do real quick, because you've seen more of the TV show than I have.
I've seen the whole TV show.
So I'm going to let you start on that while I look for musical times.
So 20, are we not going to do the 2013 movie?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so 2013.
That's first, yeah.
I forgot about that.
Because that came before the TV show.
It did come before the TV show. So 2013, The Evil Dead comes out. Same title as the original.
Evil Dead.
Well, the original was The Evil Dead, wasn't it? Yeah,
I thought it was just Evil Dead.
I thought it was The Evil Dead. Evil Dead. No, it was The Evil Dead.
Was it?
Yeah. But 2013, hold on.
No, the 2013 was called Evil Dead. The original was The Evil Dead.
Yeah, the original was The Evil Dead. 2013 was Evil Dead.
Okay,
I remember being so excited for this when it came out. I was a little nervous about it, but I was really excited to see it, because from the trailers and stuff, you can tell like this is being taken as a serious horror movie. It was sort of a reimagining-ish, a remake of the original.
Right.
But it's also kind of a loose sequel. It's weird. It's kind of like how Evil Dead 2 relates to Evil Dead 1.
Yeah.
It's a remake. It's another, I would call it another requel, because it does there's some subtle hints and references to the original as you go through it. This one is still fairly recent, so I'm not going to try to ruin a lot of things for people. I would recommend to watch it, especially if you watch the other ones. It was directed by, I'm going to butcher his name, Fede Alvarez, but it was still produced by Raimi, Campbell, and Tappert. So you had your original big 3 still involved in production. Follows pretty close to kind of the same concept of the original movie, with better special effects, new actors, new visual styles, all that. It's a very much more modern movie. But you do have a post-credit cameo where you see, if I remember right, there's like a side profile of Ash, just barely, kind of visible. What did he say at the end? He says, did he say groovy or did he say hell to the king?
I thought he said groovy. I don't remember. I need to go back. That's one I need to go back and rewatch.
I'll tell you real quick here. Well, Ash was not recast in it, which is good. I see.
Can't remember.
That was I was also kind of a big thing was for Bruce to be on board with it. There wasn't a new Ash.
Yeah.
What did he say at the end? I'm trying to find it. I thought I wrote it down. I didn't. He either said groovy or he said hail to the king.
At the end of.
But it will be important what he says. Oh, the movie was originally slated to be NC-17.
I could see that.
It does tie to the show a little bit.
I don't know. I'll rewatch it and we'll get back to y'all on that.
Yeah, that's the thing. But
I
at
can't
least
remember. I can't find it.
There wasn't a new Ash, but at the end, here we go. Here, I'll do this real quick. Evil Dead 2013. Oh man, he said he says groovy.
I thought it was.
Yeah, which he said in Evil Dead 2, and he said in Army of Darkness. I was hoping that it was Hail to the King, because that would then kind of help tie it to Army of Darkness more so.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really cool movie. Really cool movie. I have found a production. Here's productions. Here's a list of Evil Dead the Musical. Looks like we just missed the Kansas City, Missouri show by a month.
Oh, we did?
Yep. They're being Colorado, Ontario, North Carolina, Oregon, Nevada, Georgia, Florida, Idaho, Tennessee, Washington, Alberta, British Columbia, California, New Jersey, Tennessee, New Jersey, Denver, Colorado. Nothing close. Kansas City would have been the closest one, and we didn't get that.
Which sucks. I would have loved to have seen that. If it goes close, you and I are going. Not Chof.
Not Chof.
Anyone but Chof can go.
So at the end of Evil Dead, the 2013, you do get a brief cameo of Ash at the end. They're saying that it's all tied. It's all tied together. It's all related somehow. Then we get Ash versus the Evil Dead, which kind of returns back to your Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2 style.
Yep. So this originally showed up on Showtime. And I remember just being so excited about this. And we revisit, like, basically Army of Darkness Ash. Mm-hmm. Womanizing. Well, and I guess Evil Dead 2 Ash. Because, you know, he's the womanizer. Just kind of a loser. He wears a girdle in it.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about the girdle.
He wears a girdle. And he still has the Necronomicon. Don't ask me how, but he has it still.
Yep.
And he is, for lack of better terminology, railing this girl in the bar that he goes to.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden she turns around and she's like, you know, we're coming for you, Ashy.
Ooh, that was pretty good.
Thanks. And it scares him. What?
A little T-Pain deadite at the end there.
A little bit. He's like, what? And he starts, whoa. And she's like, well, I'm almost there. And he's like, okay, well, let's finish. And it goes to this whole, we get introduced to new characters. Pablo, who became one of my favorites in the series. Kelly was pretty good. We have Lucy Lawless, who was in Hercules and Xena. Frequent collaborator with Raimi is in it.
Kind of tying all that back in together again.
Yeah.
Lucy, I love me some Lucy Lawless.
And she's super hot.
Yes. I hope I can age as well as she did.
No, neither of us is going to age that well.
No, I've already
look at us right now.
Yeah, look at us now. And she's like, how old is Lucy now?
Got to be in her 50s.
Oh, and then some, I would bet. Lucy Lawless.
Yeah, you look it up. The way Ash, not even inadvertently releases the Deadites, the evil, but basically he's high, smoking weed with this girl in his trailer, and he's same car. And she's like, I want to see something scary. He's like, oh, this will freak you out. And so he shows her the Necronomicon and he reads from it because she can't read it and releases the evil. This is where we get the Keeper of Secrets to Elgon from the video game, the guy with no eyes and the he's in that. That's where we get him from. And what's unique about the TV show is it gives us three seasons of expanded lore into the universe that the movies couldn't cover. Like Lucy Lawless introduces herself as the daughter of the Nolbys. And you come to find out she's one of the ancient ones that they referenced. And she's the one who wrote the Necronomicon, but she rebelled against them. And it has like a Deadite teddy bear, giant mascot is in this show. It's just so well done and just so campy. You can't help but love the damn show. It's so much fun. And, after this, well, I'd say after the video game, Campbell said, I'm done with Ash. Ash's tale is done. I'm out.
Yeah.
But the TV show, it's on Netflix now.
Oh, they moved to Netflix?
It's on Netflix, so you can watch it. It is, if you like Evil Dead, it is worth a watch. It is well worth a watch. It is just great. Like one scene, Kelly gets possessed by the demon. What is the damn demon's name?
Steve.
And Steve the demon. From Ash versus.
So isn't it in the TV show where you have the demons that they're fighting that are kind of similar looking to some of the Cenobites from Hellraiser?
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that's what. Okay,
and that's the one in that's the one from the video game.
Okay,
that's the second one. Oh, with one thing we forgot to mention, it's all based on Kandorian lore too. That's where the book they said comes from, an ancient race. And then one thing that is consistent through everything is the Kandorian dagger that can kill the evil.
Kandorian or Kandarian?
Maybe Kandarian. I don't remember. Eligos is the demon.
Yeah.
Keeper of the Secrets, but it's the TV show is just fun. It's just so much fun.
So the TV show ran for 3 seasons.
Oh, and you get a super evil Ash in it too.
Nice.
It grew from his hand.
So we've got. Let me find it here. I didn't put this in the show notes because I found out about it after the fact. So supposedly, coming this year, coming soon.
A theater near you.
To a theater near you. No, I think this is going to be. Is this going to be a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie.
Evil Dead Rise. So the little blurb of it is a twisted tale of 2 estranged sisters whose reunion is cut short by the rise of flesh-possessing demons, thrusting them into a primal battle for survival as they face the most nightmarish version a family imaginable. Directed by Lee Cronin, written by Lee Cronin and Sam Raimi. Stars Lisa Sutherland, Lily Sullivan, Morgan Davies, with full support from Bruce Campbell. Although, so it was this is coming out supposedly in 2022, coming out this year.
It was supposed to come out in January.
Yeah, filming on it wrapped last year, I think. It kind of started its life as plans for a sequel to the 2013 Evil Dead.
Then I think it just became its own beast, didn't it?
It kind of became its own thing. It's scheduled to be released in the United States in May. Okay, so it's going to be straight to HBO Max.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, but I haven't seen anything new about the release date on it yet.
No, there's nothing on. I've been looking. There's nothing on the release date.
Yep. It's going to be set in the city. The protagonist will not be Ash, so it's an Ashless Evil Dead.
Which is weird.
Chaps me a little bit to be Ashless. Ashless chaps.
Groovy.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, though. I really am.
So there's some ties. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot of info about it. It's just going to be set in an urban environment. I haven't seen, like I said, let's see if there's anything anywhere new on the release date. Which did you check HBO Max release dates and all that?
Couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
Which is
everything I'm seeing is just seeing sometime in 2022, but the filming on it's wrapped, from what I can tell.
Yeah, it's done.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's going to be Evil Dead 5, basically. What they're saying.
Let's see, Gremlins: Secret of the Mogwai, Evil Dead Rise. Yeah, you didn't know about that Evil Dead show or Gremlins TV show on HBO Max.
Nice
this year.
HBO Max is really making a good push.
Yep. Yeah, it just says Evil Dead Rise on the along with Doom Patrol season 4. Oh, good. Love Doom Patrol. Yeah, it doesn't say shit. It just says sometime this year.
The edit has been locked. Okay, so I'm reading something from where am I at now? Comicbook.com. This came out in March. The editing's done. They're still doing the sound design and score, which was in March. But they're still saying later this year. So picture lock on Evil Dead Rise. This is from Lee Cronin. So this is from the director. Yeah, picture lock. So that's done. One step closer to unleashing this beast into the world. 6 months editing have gone into this timeline. Onto music composition and sound design we go. That was March 10th. So the filming's done. They just got to add some sound and do a little tweaking. So yeah, I would expect it by the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. That might be a good community movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
that's our little quick and dirty Evil Dead stuff. There's so much stuff that we could cover from this, and we just kind of try to high fly over. I know there's a lot of things that we missed. I mean, we could spend hours breaking down the first movie and talking about all the cool little things from the behind the scenes things. Like, we didn't even talk about Shemps and what I'm trying to figure out exactly where Shemp came from. When we're talking about the Shemp beer showed up in the show, second season.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen two conflicting things on where that came from for me. One was it was a reference to Bruce Campbell's favorite stooge of Three Stooges.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. It was Shemp was his nickname. Oh, crap, what was his name? Anyway, but Shemp is also a term for when an actor takes over the role of another actor, either if they have passed away or if they're just taking on a dead version of them, just like what happened in a lot of the older movies when another actor would play the dead version of a character after they got dead-eyed.
Right.
Those were called Shemps. And so it could be either or both. Who knows?
I didn't know that. Yeah. Good find, sir.
Yeah. Yeah, I
So
watched the
let-
whole like behind the scenes thing a
On
long
it.
time ago, and that's something that stuck with me.
So let's, well, we're wrapping up here. Let's talk about the next couple weeks. What's going to happen here?
All right.
This is going to release on this Monday.
On Memorial Day.
On Memorial Day. So as you're heading to the lake or wherever you're going, give us a listen. Normal 3 a.m. time. But I will be at Disney with the family starting tomorrow, Sunday, for a week. So Kyle, the following episode, we have something special planned for you all. I probably won't have time to work on a picture for it like I do for the rest of them. So Kyle will find something, but Kyle's got something special planned for it. I don't know what, but we have something special planned for next week. We'll see if it works.
Is this going to be monumental success
or an
colossal
failure?
Or a colossal failure? One of the two. Either way, you guys are going to be around for it.
I think it has the potential to be super funny.
Either way, we're going to have fun doing it.
Yeah.
And if I can do it in the way that we discussed last night to do it, it's going to be a lot of work, but it'll be worth it.
It'll be worth it. And when you get to your mom's, if you get time, text me, and so we can work out maybe a couple of these details.
Okay.
If you get time. But we'll start recording probably maybe tomorrow when I get off the plane. Because we'll get there at like 7 p.m. So yeah, after leaving at 10:30 in the morning. Then after that, we were going to have to record like 3 episodes in a row because then I'll be in Hawaii for 12 days. So that'll be a 2-week period where we're going to have to pre-record. We have an earlier episode we recorded and we've been holding on to it. It's about Disney movies. It's very rough cut because it was some of our earlier shit.
It was before we figured out how to make ourselves sound better.
Yeah.
And I think I had hair then too.
You did have hair then. But so we're going to be doing that.
You might catch that episode next week, depending on how we can piece all this other stuff together.
And then that might be the next one. But we're going to have stuff for you all. It just may not be in the same frequency. We have our 100th episode coming up too, which really we have to talk about and plan something for that. Yeah, because that's a big thing for us, over a year of doing this, and we're finally going to reach episode 100.
That's a lot of episodes.
That is a lot of episodes. So, and none of this would be possible without any of you.
Yeah. Thank you guys for listening and hanging out with us and helping this community grow. And it's been a ride. It's been fun, and made a lot of new friends along the way from doing this. So it's was able to introduce some of my friends to Chris, and vice versa, and so we've had a good run with this. So we hopefully do something really fun and cool on the 100th. We will. We'll see how that goes because it'll be interesting.
So with that, this has been Every Man's Guide to Nerddom. I'm Chris.
And I'm Kyle. And wherever you guys are, please have a great morning, evening, night, whatever time it is, wherever you are. And please be good to each other.
Nerd
See ya.
culture, rise up.
See ya.
It could get elevated. Nerd culture, rise up. It could get elevated. Nerdcore used to be just a made-up word. MCs shied away.